Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's Turnpike Sports Book Report, where we go through some of the state and national sports betting reports. We talk about the latest deals and also legislative updates, as well as even some of the launches that have happened around the country. And this week we're going to be talking about some more New York numbers being released. We also have a couple state records to discuss.
State records, huh?
We have a record-setting Major League Soccer sports betting deal to discuss.
Okay.
We have PointsBet breaking new ground, and that's their wording for it. And actually, after reading about it, it is. I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about. And then we've got a bunch of deals, legislative updates, as well as a couple launches to hit. But let's start off with some of those New York numbers again.
Well, the first weekend was great. I mean, some of those numbers that GeoComply let loose with were amazing.
Well, GeoComply has come up with some additional numbers.
Good.
These are for the second weekend.
All right.
Of the New York mobile sports betting era. According to GeoComply, 17.9 million geolocation transactions, as compared to the first weekend's 17.2 million.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
2 weekends, we've seen a slight uptick. 700,000 transactions, I guess you can say, is a slight uptick. It's showing that the industry right off the bat, I don't know. I'm looking at these numbers. I don't know, because you now went from 4 to 5 with only a slight increase.
Well, let's be honest. There's football playoffs right now. It's constant. I was up in Boston, and Massachusetts doesn't even have sports betting, and they're doing a sports betting segment on their TV and radio. So everyone's transfixed with the NFL playoffs, all transfixed with betting. It's still a new thing in New York, and you know what? I hope the numbers keep going up, but we'll see over the long run.
I really would have thought with the introduction of BetMGM, by the time this airs, the Tuesday of the following week. We may have a sixth one launch. I don't know. They're rolling them out whenever they're ready to launch in New York. But we went from 4 to 5 between the 2 weekends.
And we're expecting what, 9? 9 were
4
approved.
More to launch.
9 were approved. So we're still waiting for the rest to jump in.
I'm just saying, if you look at it, 700,000 transaction increase. I don't know if that's a major jump or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I think there will be a jump when these others jump in, when the sportsbooks who haven't launched yet jump in, because there's a thought in the industry that in order to catch up, these new books that, they're going to be launching, I guess, within the next couple of weeks, they're going to be offering promos and bonuses that are going to be great just to try and catch up to the ones that are already in the New York mobile market. So it should be interesting to see the numbers after all 9 are going full bore in New York.
Well, also according to GeoComply, of the 1.2 million accounts set up since the mobile wagering began, and that was on January 8th, 770,000 of that 1.2 million are brand new to regulated online sports betting. They're brand new customers. That's 87% of the 1.2 million that have signed up for the New York mobile sports betting are brand new customers to sports betting.
Okay, so these weren't bettors from New Jersey, right?
No, these were all from New York. Well, you know what? They could be from. We don't know where they're coming into New York to do that, because there were some good bonuses.
What I meant to say were these weren't people from New Jersey or Connecticut that had existing accounts. No. If I had a FanDuel in New Jersey and I went over and signed up for a FanDuel in New York, I wouldn't be counted in that 764,000. Okay.
And according to GeoComply, this was an interesting number. 9.3% of New York bettors crossed the line and went into Jersey to bet on sports.
Still, huh?
It's interesting how they can track that, more so than anything, that they know 9% of I guess it's 9% of the 1.2 million accounts crossed over to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some better numbers.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, when we say go over to New Jersey, they crossed a bridge.
Or they were on the bridge.
Or they were on the bridge, or or you know what? They went home from working in Manhattan. They went home to New Jersey for the night or something like that. It's when you say crossing state borders, it's, you can see New York City from New Jersey. So it's not like they're traveling hundreds of miles.
It's not like they're going from Ohio into New Jersey.
Yeah, no,
it's just over a bridge.
5 minutes on a bridge and you're in another state. So,
well, speaking of New Jersey,
all right,
GeoComply had numbers for New Jersey as well with regards to New York.
Oh, okay. So there's how New Jersey was affected by New York. That's what they're saying. Okay.
According to GeoComply, the 2 weeks prior to the January 8th launch of mobile sports betting in New York, New Jersey was averaging 12.6 million geolocation transactions.
Okay. All right.
The 2 weeks after the launch here, New Jersey is averaging 13.1 million.
Okay, New Jersey went up, huh?
So I guess, maybe overstated in terms of New York right off the bat going to take away from Jersey. I don't know. I really don't see that.
It's a complex relationship between New York and New Jersey. Look, most people who work in Manhattan commute from New Jersey or Connecticut. There are going to be crossover numbers. There's going to be, the Meadowlands, which is where the stadium is, and also where there's a sports book, a physical sports book. It's 12 miles from Times Square. It's very close. It's the same neighborhood.
And again, the one you're referring to just over in the Meadowlands, there's two books there.
Yeah, there's actually FanDuel and PointsBet. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a couple selections there that maybe some of the New Yorkers are used to dealing with some of the books that are in New Jersey. They don't have that option up in New York yet. I know they're going to be getting more, but they may want to They may have a lot of money in their accounts in New Jersey, too.
Sure.
More so than they have in New York.
Sure.
You want to hear some outlandish New York numbers?
Okay. What do you mean outlandish?
The New York government the governor just put out the state budget.
Okay.
And according to the New York state budget, the expectation is the state will collect $2.59 billion in taxes between now and 2027.
Okay. Well, I can see that. What is that?
$2.59 billion.
Well, what is that, 5 years?
5 years.
Okay. Well, you might, yeah. Well, look, New York, they're also looking at licenses for 3 New York area casinos. And they're all going to have sports books. So,
you don't know that. You don't know that.
Well,
you don't
kind of have that feeling. If you have a casino, you almost have to have a sports book now.
I wonder
that's the way it's done.
I wonder if if any of these new casinos they're talking about launching in the New York City metro area are going to have to be somehow grandfathered in to the operator licenses that have already been given out.
I don't know.
Or are they going to have another round of operator licenses?
All I know is New York is going full boat with casino gambling and online sports betting, and I'm very curious to see if they're going to try and incorporate online casinos or online poker. So we shall see. I love what New York's doing, and they're really, really being aggressive with regard to gambling.
I just think that maybe these projections outward to 2027, they may be a little bit higher.
Who knows? Who knows?
I don't know if it's going to plateau anytime soon, but the way the industry seems to be shaping up for the mobile betting industry in New York, at least, it looks like it's going to probably be a powerhouse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's going to be right off the bat, probably not this month, not January, or maybe even February. You may see by March Madness, it's going to be some sort of combination of Nevada, New Jersey, New York.
Sure.
As the top 3.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a couple of records. State records, as a matter of fact. We had 2 states reporting records for one for a month and one for a quarter.
Okay.
Michigan, for the 4th month in a row, they've set a record in terms of total handle.
Talk about a gambling powerhouse. Michigan, their first year of online gambling and online casinos and online sports betting and online poker, what is it, $1.4 billion?
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
It's an amazing market, and I think
it's a great market.
And I think that's where like a lot of the comparisons for some of these other states, like New York, is coming in. New York dwarfs Michigan in terms of population.
Sure.
But Michigan reported record handles in December for both total handle, 514.7 million, and mobile handle, 484.6 million. So you're looking at maybe about 92%, 90% of the total handle being online in Michigan already. That's kind of in line with every other state that's out there that has both mobile and retail, except for Nevada, which has the in-person
let's be
requirement.
honest. It's wintertime, it's cold, and no one wants to really go out and place a bet. You can do it from your couch as easy as you can, easier than driving to a brick-and-mortar casino.
That's true. And again, there's no in-person requirement to sign up for these things either in Michigan. So that's actually an added benefit there. Going down south, Mississippi.
Oh, they have a record, huh?
They reported a record quarterly handle.
All right.
200.9 million in the fourth quarter of this past year, 2021. Now, you got to remember, Mississippi does not have mobile betting.
But
Well, no, they technically do. I guess you can say that because BetMGM has their app live, but you can only use it on the casino property that they're part of.
they have mobile betting, but you have to be on the casino property,
Yeah,
right?
You have to be in-person mobile betting. I guess you can call it that way. But you can't be sitting at home on your couch.
Which, by the way, I mean, even if I'm in Atlantic City and I'm in a sports book, guess what? I still bet on my phone.
Yeah.
I never get up and go. Basically, I'm lazy. I just sit around in the bar or something like that, and I do a bet from my phone. It's easier.
But you got to remember, Mississippi, it's only one option, BetMGM. And you still have to be at that casino.
Yep.
So
but they broke a record for a quarter, huh?
Yeah, for them.
Good.
State record.
Good.
And they're in the process of trying to pass online mobile betting, however we want to phrase it. So we'll see exactly where Mississippi goes with that legislation. You always talk about the football contests, and I want to throw out one set of numbers here because this was reported for Circa.
I'm absolutely fascinated with the football contests. We don't have them in New Jersey. I think
Not
that's
yet.
kind of a
Not
Las
yet.
Vegas kind of thing. And I, from listening to all throughout the entire NFL season, this has to be one of the hardest things to win, because on any given Sunday, a football team, no matter how bad their record is, can actually beat one of the top teams in the league. And it has happened this year. So for people who win these contests, I'm incredibly impressed with.
Well, Circa ran their two contests this year. The Circa, I think it was the Circa Million 3.
And one's called a Survivor.
And the Circa Survivor.
Survivor?
Yep.
Okay.
The Survivor contest awarded 5 winners a collective $7 million as a payout.
Mm-hmm.
So $7 million.
Well, one of them you have to pay like about $10,000 to
both
join.
of them do.
Both of them? Okay.
And the Circa Million 3 delivered $4 million in prizes over the course of the season. The final winner claimed $1 million prize.
You know what? The one thing about these football contests in Vegas is Vegas has they allow proxies. They allow proxy services, which means if I'm sitting in Missouri, I can call my proxy service and they put in my bet and things like that.
Once you have set it up, you have to be in Vegas to set it up.
Yeah,
first.
you have to be in Vegas. You have to set it up. But from then, you can place bets through a proxy service. And, sometimes if I've heard of horror stories where people have forgotten to put their Survivor picks in and their proxy service, reminded them and got them in for them. So, but proxy services are allowed in Las Vegas, or I guess they're allowed in all of Nevada, I guess.
Yeah, all of Nevada.
But I don't think they're allowed anywhere else.
No.
Yeah, that'd be great in New Jersey.
Everywhere else, they're called strawmen, which is the legal term for doing something like that.
I don't think that's legal.
No.
But they allow proxy services in Vegas. It's something, I think the other jurisdictions should look at. I mean, especially if you want to have like contests like this or a kind of grow your sports betting industry, you might want to have proxy services.
Well, let's talk about a state that doesn't have sports betting, yet we have a sports betting deal coming out of the state.
Okay.
Texas,
okay.
Fubo Gaming announced a multi-year marketing and market access deal with the Houston Dynamo, of Major League Soccer.
Okay.
They also include the Houston Dash, which is the National Women's League team as well.
It's a soccer team.
They're both soccer.
Okay.
They're both part of the same group.
Okay.
So,
all right. So when you say Major League Soccer, it has men's and women's, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a record deal in terms of the amount that they're talking about. Over the course of the deal, it's $178 million. That's the reported number. Really, no one's disclosed those figures, but the good folks at Sportico dug out some of the numbers, and they said it was worth about $178 million.
I mean, that's huge for soccer.
It's huge.
I mean, no disrespect to soccer, but it isn't one of the top tier sporting leagues in the country.
I have to admit, the way this is structured, it's very interesting. It starts out as just a sponsorship by Fubo TV. Mm-hmm. Once gaming is allowed or gambling is legal in Texas,
which will be a couple of years.
It becomes a Fubo gaming sponsorship.
Okay.
Now
will they have the patches on the?
They'll have patches.
Okay. All right.
Basic stuff, but it's just the fact that there's no live gambling in Texas, other than a lottery. So and those private card rooms that they have. But,
which are very interesting. It's against the law for Texas card rooms to charge a rake. So I guess you're basically renting a seat for however long or whatever the rates are per hour.
Well, we're going from a state that did not have sports betting to have a sports betting deal to a broadcast that broke new ground for PointsBet.
Okay.
PointsBet announced that the company became the first U.S. sports betting provider to offer clients live in-game betting opportunities with zero suspension of the numbers.
Okay.
No one's ever been able to do this before, according to PointsBet in their press release.
Okay.
This was a test run during Saturday's NFL wildcard playoff game between the Raiders and the Bengals. They were able to have live odds, prop bets throughout the game. And you ever see when you're doing in-play betting, you hit your bet and the odds change?
Yes.
You didn't have to worry about that with this test run.
Okay.
It automatically just did it as you were going along. You ever see when your odds get suspended and you can't bet? Mm-hmm. Didn't happen here.
Okay, good.
So they were testing out new tech that allowed them to get away with having no suspensions of any data, content, odds, that sort of
So before when that happened, it was a tech issue, or it wasn't
It was a latency issue.
It wasn't a sport trader issue saying, "Oh, people are starting to bet on this. Maybe we should suspend stuff or change that."
It was a latency issue.
So it was a tech issue.
Yeah, it was a tech issue.
More times than not, it was a tech. I can't say it was a tech issue every time, but it was a tech issue.
Yes.
Okay.
We've got a couple launches to talk about. The big one is a group called Wager, which is a social sports betting app. It's peer-to-peer.
Would they be classified as a betting exchange? Is that what they're or
They
no?
don't want to be called that.
They don't want to be called that? Okay.
No, they are a social peer-to-peer sports betting app.
A social, but it's real money.
Sometimes.
Okay.
It doesn't have
sometimes.
to be sometimes.
It doesn't. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Sometimes.
Yes. But yeah, they are the first one in the country to launch with a license. They got licensed by the state of Tennessee. They are the first one in the United States to do that.
Okay.
We've got Pennsylvania. PointsBet announced that they got their sports betting license, so they'll be launching in Pennsylvania soon. New Jersey Ocean Casino Resort announced that they are building a brand new permanent sports book.
I got to check this out because I always like their old sports book. Or I don't call it their old sports book. I should be calling it their current sports book. But when you walk in, it's right in the center of everything. It's a big round thing. It's great. Where is it going to be in the same area, or is this a totally different area of the casino?
It looks like it's going to be a different area because the current sports book is going to be open through the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm assuming by the time the Super Bowl rolls around, after the Super Bowl, they may shut that down and start doing some construction in certain areas, that sort of thing.
Well, they got March Madness coming up. So
they're going to be doing windows and tellers and kiosks.
I wonder if they're going to – do you think they'll be open by March Madness? Or
No, they're talking about fall.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. They're going to start this spring and hope to have it done by the end of summer.
Okay.
If not midsummer, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And this is in conjunction with their new partner, U.S. Bookmaking.
See, you know what? Now, next time I visit there, I have to go looking around for this new construction. I just go right to every time I go to you go up that big escalator in Ocean Casino, you come out, and I just make a beeline right to the sports book. So,
well, I like.
See, now I'm going to get lost.
See, I like the sports book because they got a really nice bar there too.
Oh yeah, it's great.
A couple deals to really hit upon here. We have Missouri. The 6 professional sports teams and the state's existing casino operators entered into a first-of-its-kind agreement to support legislation on legalized sports betting. No other state has had this happen before, where the sports teams and the casinos get together and sign an agreement. So, as was first-of-its-kind deal. PointsBet announced a partnership with club-related leisure and hospitality services company Troon, making PointsBet the official and exclusive sports betting partner of Troon. I just like saying Troon. Troon is the world's largest golf management company with over 630 locations around the world, including properties located in over 45 states and 30 countries. According to the deal, PointsBet players and PointsBet VIP people will have access to special areas on courses and facilities cool. maintained by Troon.
Nice.
And also they have something to do with what the upcoming, and it has not been announced yet, but they mentioned it in the press release, the PointsBet Cup.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to be a golf tournament.
Great.
DraftKings did a deal with the Tulalip Tribes of Washington for retail sportsbooks at the tribe's Tulalip Resort Casino and Kilsada Creek Casino, both located 30 minutes north of Seattle. Sportradar announced a multi-year education and bet monitoring services agreement with the Canadian Hockey League. Let's see. Rush Street announced that former professional baseball manager and player Bobby Valentine will be their new brand ambassador, not only for Connecticut, but for all of baseball. Well, and I think with New York there.
He was running for mayor of Stamford, Connecticut. Not Stanford, Stamford. Stamford.
Yeah, that's so, Southern Connecticut.
Which is very, very close to the New York border. But, he's best known as manager of the Mets, and so he should
also where he's got a couple of his restaurants, too.
Yeah, he has a sports bar. What's the name of the sports bar?
Bobby V's.
Bobby V's. Okay, that makes sense. But which the one over in Boston here that you went to? Tony C's.
Tony C's.
Is that it? Yeah.
That's not his.
No, I know that, but everything's Tony C's or Bobby V's or whatever.
Well, Bobby V also has a sports betting license.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, hey, no, good, because he's a popular figure in Connecticut, which just started sports betting, and certainly in New York, which just started mobile sports betting. So that's a good signing from them. 2 quick media deals to talk about. Gambling.com announced a partnership with the McClatchy Company. Mm-hmm. It's a news media organization. They they cover 29 markets across 14 states. They have a overall customer base of around 65 million unique visitors. They now do this into unique visitors for newspaper companies because more people go to the websites now. Mm-hmm. So we'll see gambling.com content in like the Sacramento Bee, which is one of their big newspapers, for all the McClatchy Company news groups. Great.
Better Collective announced a commercial partnership with the New York Post.
Great.
We're going to see Better Collective data, breakdowns of sports events, other content in the New York Post, as well as some of their other publications. And I did not know this. The Post website reaches 92 million unique users a month.
Well, I got to tell you, being from New Jersey and, traveling to New York City a lot over the years, first you saw a lot of the New York Post being read on trains. Now you don't see the New York Post a lot on trains. You see people reading the New York Post on their tablets or their phones or stuff like that.
That's why they go by unique visitors now.
Yep.
And the last deal for the week here, and before we get out of here, PlayUp announced that cryptocurrency company FTX has made a $35 million strategic investment in the company. And the percentage of equity that FTX is going to get in reciprocation of that investment will be determined at a later date. That's it for this week's book report, Turnpike Sports Book Report. Feel free to send in your press releases at info@turnpikesportsradio.com, and we'll be sure to include them in upcoming weekly reports on the sports betting industry here. So come back next week for brand new news stories.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.